Hey, you.
Over here, Agent.
Slayer. Yo, what's up?
Hey, over here.
Hello and welcome to Control Alt WoW, the podcast for people playing video games of all types, including PC and VR, and those who like to make many alts. And today is Tuesday, November 26, 2024. And this is episode 815 entitled Co-op versus Multiplayer. And with me is my co-host, Grand Nagus. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing fine. I'm eagerly watching, well, not currently, but previously, before we started the show, watching the Race to World First in Final Fantasy.
Oh, wow.
On the new raid, so...
Oh, how exciting. So they're streaming on what, Twitch or...
Twitch, there are multiple teams that are streaming, yeah. Like 6 or 8, yep.
How exciting. I remember those days from World of Warcraft. Now, what is going on now? This is the new raid, and that just came out today, right?
It came out today, yeah. That's it's the new Ultimate, which is the highest difficulty of raids in Final Fantasy, and that's it's called FRU, F-R-U, Futures Unwritten Ultimate. Futures Rewritten Ultimate, F-R-U.
Will you be participating in that?
Oh, hell no. No. I won't.
Why?
Won't do that because I'm just not good enough.
Oh, and it has to be unlocked.
And it has to be unlocked, yeah. So I have to go. You have to go through the current Savage tier, which I don't think I've even done the normal version of yet. I've just had so many other things going on personally, like IRL and in-game as well, so it's...
So what is your goal with the new update that you're trying for?
At the moment, I want to finish decorating my house still. So that's...
By the way, I'm up to level 6, so I can come and visit your house whenever you're ready.
Oh, nice! Yeah, we can do that. So yeah, it's a thing where the last time I decorated my house, the first real decoration I did was the medium house I had before I moved, and that took me roughly 6 months.
Oh.
To get it the way I wanted it. And then I just up and left and stored it all in the storage compartment, storage unit that comes with each house. You have X amount of item slots for the items that you place, and you have a corresponding sized storage room that is of identical size. So if you have a apartment, you have 100 limit of 100 items you can place. If you have a small house, you have a indoor capacity of 200 items and outdoor capacity of 20.
Oh.
And the medium has 30 outside and 300 inside. and a large has 40 outside and 400 inside.
Neat.
So, and those are numbers that are nowhere near enough.
Oh.
So, actually, I think there was a guy, or I know there was a guy that did a spreadsheet.
Okay. And it told
Did a type of tile breakdown where he chopped up the floor plan of a house into tiles
oh.
and calculated the usable tiles versus the total amount of tiles. So, like if you go inside a house and you have like a stairwell, that's obviously part of the floor plan, but it's unusable for decoration because it's the stairs, right?
Right.
So you have to subtract them and so forth.
Well, that's
Medium, the medium size was the one that had price-wise versus usable tiles in the house was the most optimal. And that was really fascinating to see, because if you have a house like a mansion, they're called mansion, small is called cottage. I don't know what the medium one is called. If you have a large one, it's so big that if you place many small items, you run out of item slots really fast. And if you place items that are big, it looks off, kind of, because imagine you just place big things in a room. There is no intimacy.
Right. Yeah.
It's just huge, bulky stuff to fill up the space. The little nooks and crannies, the little corners, like where you can decorate with flowers, flower pots, things on the wall, like pictures and stuff like that. Those you don't usually have the item slot count for. So
Right.
it's a juggling act of finding the right balance. So it's really.
And what size is your house?
Mine is a big,
Oh.
a large mansion. It's
Oh, wow. Now, how much
of the.
is there pricing difference?
Yes, there is. The cheapest housing you can get is a free company room in a free company house. So you basically have rooms. If you walk into a free company house, you have a separate door in the back where you can have like private rooms. And they are the same kind of, roughly the same size as an apartment, a private apartment. And they cost 300,000 gil. But they are tied to the free company, to your connection, through your connection of to the free company. That's why they only quote unquote cost 300,000.
Okay.
If you leave your grand company, you basically lose the room.
But
Obviously, since they're tied to each other.
Do you get the gill back or?
No, you don't.
Oh.
If you buy a personal apartment in an apartment building, which there is one of in each ward, you pay 500,000. It's roughly the same size, but that can't be taken away from you. And it's a non it's a non-slotted estate, meaning if you go into a housing ward, which is the neighborhood, it's called a ward. Each ward has 30 slots, like land slots of the three different sizes. And there is something called the demolition countdown, which means that because because of the scarcity of said land is so big, you basically have to step into your house, not onto your land, but into your house, at least every 45 days to prevent it from being demolished and the land being automatically vacated. So, but except for the apartments, because they are in the apartment building, which is a building in of itself that is a provided building. So there is no demolishing timer connected to the apartment.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So and then you have the small plots. They start at 3 million. The medium ones start at, I believe, 16 million. And the large start at 40 million. And I believe the highest priced small is 3.75. The highest priced medium is 20 million, and the highest priced large is 50 million. So there is a significant difference, yeah.
Now, how much do you have at this moment, or is that a personal question?
You mean Gil?
Yes.
I have roughly, I think I have just shy of 10 because I spent so much.
10,000 or 10
million?
10 million.
Million.
Okay, okay.
10 million.
All right, that gives me a perspective, yeah.
But I paid quite a bit. I paid 42.5 million for my plot.
Wow.
Plus, I think 1.5 million for the building permit, which is a separate fee. But that includes the initial house. So the walls, the roof, the windows, and the door. Those are the 4 basic components that the house are made up of. And the building permit include those parts, unless you upgrade. or you side grade or downgrade. If you move. So if you, like I did, I started, initially I bought a small plot, then I upgraded to a medium, and then now I'm in a large. And once you upgrade, the walls of your house or your design, let's put it that way, they are technically called walls, because a wall can also be a design, a special design that you have to craft, and that grows or shrinks with your change of size of house.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to buy that specially crafted item again, which can be quite expensive. They can cost up to a couple of million. Those custom walls that you'll see once you see my house, you'll see it's basically, my house is a Far Eastern house, and it is basically like one of these Japanese temples.
Ooh. Now, do we have time to go there right now?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, we can do that.
All right. Okay, so we can pause here and log in, and why don't we do that real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was magnificent. The graphics, the details of all the layouts, the back, even just flying over the different areas was so beautiful. For those of you listening to the podcast, you can see screenshots in the show notes at CtrlAltWow.com. And I will be posting a link to the video that I'm going to put up on YouTube because it was amazing. So we went to your house, and it was absolutely amazing. Now, how long have you been working on that building?
I've been working on it twice actually, because I can't remember when exactly I won the plot, like a couple of months ago, and I basically had the layout done in the medium already, so I basically just had to replace the items where they were previously in the medium with some expansions, kind of, where there are some aspects that, as I said earlier, where the sheer scale of the larger house now makes things feel smaller than they actually are, and it feels empty. So I had to compensate for that.
I think you did a really good job of that because it really did look full and occupied.
Yeah, so with that being said, I had to do everything twice. I had to do the thing back then in the medium to figure out the layout for me. And then with the latest patch, the latest big patch, 7.1, we got this minimalist option where you could basically remove all the pillars and have this this version of the interior design that is neutral and not themed around the city that you are a part of with your ward. And that meant that I had to empty out my entire house, or all the items that I had previously placed got placed in storage. So I had to replace them again. So that is the third time now that I create this design.
Oh, okay.
So all in all, I would say I've been working on this design for about 10 months.
Well, I think you've done a really good job.
Oh, thank you.
What else is going on?
Well, else we have, I talked about the ultimate earlier. We got a preview of a kind of new game a week ago or so, I think, or like a couple of days ago, where Yoshida-san introduced us to Final Fantasy XIV Mobile, which is a mobile version of the game. It is not a game that integrates with the current existing version. So it's not a cross-play version that extends to mobile, much like you would have console versions and PC being able to play together.
Oh, okay.
Like it is now. This is a mobile game that is totally separate from the current game.
So it's PC, I mean it's Android and Apple?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Yes, it is. And it's free to play.
Oh.
So there's no sub, at least that's what they've said.
Right.
Of
course, there has to be a catch.
Yeah, so for now, they are going to do the alpha and beta testing in China. And then eventually they're going to release it to the rest of the world once that is done, and once they're happy with how it turned out. I'm assuming I look forward to seeing what it turns out to be, because apparently from the artwork and from the information that we got, it looks to be an ARR experience. So A Realm Reborn, the base game, the 2.0 version.
You mean augmented reality?
No.
Oh, I thought you said AR.
ARR.
Oh, ARR. Okay.
Yeah. A Realm Reborn.
Oh, okay.
That's what the Final Fantasy 14 2.0 is called, A Realm Reborn. And then they will gradually add more content. So like add the expansions that the normal game has gotten. They'll add those to the game eventually. But no timeline or anything yet. So we just have to wait and see how it all turns out. But it's interesting to see that they are going to make a Final Fantasy XIV mobile version. And yeah, we just, well, I just, the thing that I am most interested in is how the gameplay is going to work, how much the mobile version is going to reflect the 2.0 version of the game that we know, and how much the story is going to be streamlined versus the original, and all these essential parts that are core to the game. Because there's been talk about streamlining the ARR experience even more than they did when they launched. I think it was Shadowbringers. That's when they did a big streamlining, attunement, whatever you want to call it, with regards to quests, purging, so to speak, of like the cutting away the fat and focusing on the meat of the story. And I wonder how much of that process they are going to, you can't say keep, but they're going to implement, or if they are even going to go further, because I've played through the ARR story a couple of times now, and I could tell them that there are at least a couple of storylines that are 2 or 3 stages of a quest too long, or even a quest chain that is 2 or 3 quests, entire quests too long. It's just too much. And
Have you been questing lately, or are you just working on your home?
no, I've been questing. I've been questing to unlock a couple of trials, which are the single boss fights
Oh.
that you have in the game. I haven't done the 7.1 story yet, primarily because I've had so many things to do IRL that I just couldn't concentrate on it, and I just want to set my mind, or put my mind to it, and not just
Jump in.
but if I can't do it, I'm just going. It isn't going anywhere.
Right.
I
There's no
can I
hurry.
can no. So it's a thing where I have so many things to do. You have so many things to do in this game that it doesn't bother me at all that I haven't done it yet. And but eventually it's going to happen, obviously, but just not at this moment. And that's okay too. Another thing is that this is not something that happened in game, but my office chair eventually gave out, or is about to. So I have to say goodbye to it very soon. And wouldn't you know it, a couple of months ago, Secret Lab teamed up with Square Enix, and they released a Final Fantasy XIV Secret Lab chair. So I thought, sure, why not? And since it's coming up on Christmas, might as well treat myself to a Christmas present.
There's a screenshot
So
in the show notes, and it is gorgeous.
it is, yeah, it is. Especially since it doesn't cost any. I don't know. It doesn't cost more. The branding, I mean, it's just you can have different designs from different games, from different companies, whatnot. And since they released this version now, I thought, yeah, sure. And another nice thing is that I was able, or I am able to buy it on the Secret Lab EU store. So it doesn't have to be shipped across half the world. Only like from neighboring country, from Poland. And it only cost me $2.50 shipping.
Oh, wow. That is a
Yep.
bargain.
Yep. So that was cool.
And it's important to have a good chair to sit in.
Oh, it is, yes.
Yeah.
It is, absolutely.
All right. Well, Final Fantasy XIV sounds exciting. Did you have anything else you wanted to share with us before I start in?
No, I do not. Nope. That's it for me
All right.
for this week.
Well, thank you. That's been exciting. So I'm going to lead right into my Final Fantasy XIV. When I first started, I was thinking about doing when we first talked about this, I was thinking about doing the mod. But it turns out that the mod hasn't been updated and that it would be complicated and there would probably be some hassles about it. So we talked about that last week. But I decided I wanted to see your house, so I was going to at least get to, I had to get to 5, right? I had to get to level 5.
Yes.
So I went in today. Well, I had played up till, I think I was 3, started my character. If we look in the screen, if we look in the show notes at CtrlAltWow.com, we'll see that, I got a really cool character. I like the little star in her forehead. And I started to play with the gamepad, but then I And I'm still using the VR headset because I get a bigger screen. You know, since I stopped playing World of Warcraft, I got away from the really big monitors, and I've only been basically using a laptop to game. And I'm using, like right now, I'm using my iMac, but I didn't have Final Fantasy XIV on the iMac, so I couldn't do that. So I'm still using the VR headset, and I was trying to use the gamepad to play. I'm going to put some of that playing in the video that we're going to show of your house and everything on the YouTube channel, and I'll put a link in the show notes. But I just decided I might as well sit down and play the way I played World of Warcraft. I do have to say that the VR headset, the Quest 3, does give me a big screen. So that was really helpful. And I went in, I did some quests. I actually went out and killed some things to get to level 5. And that enabled us to take the trip to your house, which I really am impressed. The graphics are amazing. The whole setup is really beautiful. Thank you for the tour. And my character is Aprillian Carr in Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know how much more I'm gonna play of it because it's not VR, and I'm so addicted to VR. But it was nice, and it was very beautiful. I can't stop using that term. The graphics are amazing. Actually, going back to the game that I've been playing the most, which is Medieval Dynasty, it was almost painful because it's supposed to be medieval times, but the graphics are very low key. Still beautiful, still immersive. And co-op came out on the 25th. And I've been... No, not the 25th. The 18th. So I've been playing co-op non-stop. I've been playing at least 8 hours a day. And I've been playing with various people. It's interesting... because the title of this show is Co-op versus Multiplayer. Now, have you played any co-op games? Do you know the difference?
I think I played StarCraft co-op once, but that's about it.
So the main difference between co-op and multiplayer, when I was in Final Fantasy XIV, there were people running around me who I didn't know, who were other players, not just the NPC. So you could run into people at any time, at any moment. And I think that's the biggest difference. With co-op, and especially the way co-op is done with Medieval Dynasty, the number of people on your area or in your area at any one time is just limited to 4 people for Medieval Dynasty. In Dungeons of Eternity, it's limited to 3. And the way you get access is by giving them a specific code. So every time you go in to play with Dungeons of Eternity, every time you go in, you then have to join a group. You might log in and then decide to play with somebody, and then they have to give you a code. Or you could join a random lobby and get stuck with people you don't know. With Medieval Dynasty, you have to have a code. You basically start off with your own settlement. So if you're hosting, you have your settlement, which has everything in it that everybody else's settlement has from the beginning. And then people join in, and then you decide how you're going to play or who's going to do what. And then every time, if you leave that settlement and you're the host, then everybody gets kicked off. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep, it does.
Because you're hosting. But
Yep.
every time somebody wants to join, you have to find a way to get the code to them. And right now there's with the Oculus headset, we've been having like group conversations where I'll call the other person I'm playing with a lot is someone whose name is April too, but she goes by Avril to differentiate from me as April. Actually, I go by AprilPvd in the game. So we will call each other on the headset and say, oh, this is the code. And then there's also a channel on Medieval Dynasty's Discord called Co-op Code Sharing. And that's another way you can get the code. And so it's very different from an open multiplayer. Someone has suggested maybe if they had a lobby, then people could come in and go into different a lobby, and then you could pull somebody from there to come and join your game. It's a different way. I can understand why it's done this way. If it was just an open world and people could come in, someone could come in and actually destroy buildings that you've made. And in order to build, it's different from an MMORPG. There's no real leveling or anything. The way you play the game is you go in and you gather resources and you use the resources to build buildings, and you need specific buildings to do specific things. For instance, one of my main goals when I went in was to grow crops. So I could, and you have to eat. You have to constantly eat. So there's a thing on the back of your hand that shows your water level, your food level, and your health. And then the fourth one is stamina. So you can only run a certain amount of time without running out of breath. And there is an accompanied sound effect that says so it's really interesting because you have to maintain those four things or watch those four things. We had someone who was playing with us who wasn't paying attention, and she would frequently starve to death, and then you would die. When you die, you just respawn in another area, and then you have to come back and join us. So that was interesting. It's interesting to maintain. You can just eat things like if you kill an animal, you have a meat, and you can then cook that meat in the fire, and that will give you your food part and let that grow. But one piece of meat would do like a smaller part. My thing, and the neatest thing is that if you've played the solo game, you've learned a lot. So you have to play that first in order to really understand. So for me, the best food is this. We call it pita bread with meat. So you have to make a dough. In order to make the dough, you need flour. In order to make the flour, you have to grow wheat. In order to get the flour from the wheat, you have to build a mill. In order to get really good tools, you have to start a smithy. And then you go and mine ore, and you smelt it in the smithy, and you can make better tools. So at this point, I have gotten first you have to have a house, and then you have to build a resource center, a resource building, which gives you more chest space, because otherwise your backpack gets laid down, overloaded. So you have to choose a spot, and it's been really interesting because I chose one spot that's down by this lake. It's called the forest area. The other two people I was playing, which was Avril and Tink, they both picked rocky area, which was a flatter area and closer to the mines and another person we were playing with called Murdio picked the clearing, which was way up north and away from water. So each area has its own little thing. And we started doing this thing I called a round robin, where we would go to one place, build the resource center, go to one person's settlement and build a resource center, and then go to the next person's settlement. So we would each go to one person's map, get the code, log in, and we go around, running around quickly, getting wood, chopping down trees, and getting all the material that you needed to build it. In one place we had to, at one point we had to each get a wood shed so we could make planks. And in the meantime, one person had to be running around collecting things to cook so that the other people could eat. And there's one of the nicest things was that there's chests all around the area to collect that have extra money and extra tools. So we started with Avril's. We built her a house. We built her a resource center, logged off, built my house, built my resource center, log off, got onto Tink's, did the same thing, and we did Murdio's. And then we turned right around and did the smithy and the woodshed. And it became really interesting because it was like a Amish home building between all the people. The only thing that happened that got kind of weird was that one of the things that happens is you accumulate stuff in each person's settlement. But if you log off with the stuff in your backpack, say we got to a place where there was a few chests and there was some places where there was money that you could pick up and everybody could pick up. If you log off with that money in your backpack, it'll be there the next time you log in. But say you never log into this person's settlement again, then the money is technically lost. But what we were doing is before we logged
isn't it yours then?
Well, it's yours if you log back into that person's settlement. But if you never log back into that person's settlement, it's just gone. So what we were doing is, say we went around to a bunch of chests. We ended up with almost 1,000, no, I think about 500 gold each person. Now you're just starting off. You have no gold, and there are things you can buy for, there are blueprints that you can open up with the gold. For instance, to make the scones, and if you look in the show notes, you'll see lights on the walls. To make those, you have to pay 250 gold to open up the blueprint for those. So you need money. So what we were doing was, after we each had gathered money on someone's settlement, or food, say while we were there, we killed a bear, or we killed a wolf, we got the food, and we got leather. If we log off, it's just in limbo. So we would unload our stuff and give it to the hosts, and they would now have more money from each of our adventures. And in each map, each host would now have a little bit more money to do things with. Otherwise, that money is just gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. So you can't just quote unquote steal it.
You can't steal it. It's no good to you unless you come back and play. For instance, in the play test, I had a guy, I helped him build a house on my map, in my settlement. And I gave him a few things, and I gave him some food that he put in his house. But then he never came back, and I never saw him again. So, it's in limbo. So we started sharing the money we found with the host. Well, one person didn't understand, and we think she might have been a little slow, and she's different. And when we were getting ready to log off after we had helped her, we had given her all our money and all our things, and she went to log off in our game, and we were saying, okay, now you can give us the money. And she was confused and actually thought we were trying to take advantage of her. And she was like, I don't know how much I collected. Well, it doesn't matter. It's all the money you have on your person, because you're not going to be able to take it with you. And that became an issue, because one, we had to help her a lot to show her how to build on her map. And two, when we were on our map, it kind of slowed us down. So she ended up going back and playing the solo thing, because the co-op was a little bit more complicated for her. But then we got things going. We were building farms. We had our crops going. We got the smithy going. We were doing ore parties, because some of the ores, all the iron and copper are in caves, and some of the caves are just ore and copper. You need to take a torch with you and go through to go in and dig. And the biggest detriment in there is that you got to make sure you go in with an empty backpack, because once your backpack gets full, you can't carry any more of the ore. And it was very easy to go in with stuff from things that you didn't really need, and that was why you needed your resource building and you needed chests. But there were 2 caves that had animals in. One cave had a bear, and another cave had 2 wolves. So we started going around to each other's settlements and going in together to kill the bear, and then get the ore, and then kill the wolf and get the ore. That worked out really well. We got everything down packed. We started making food and getting more money to make more things and to get all the different maps. I opened up the blueprint to make lights that we could stand in my village and line the streets with lights. It's all coming along together, and we were doing really well. Then we noticed something. So there was a skill tree you had to go through as you did more things, gathered more supplies, killed more animals, cut more trees. You got more bonuses, such as a bigger backpack, the ability to have your tools lasting longer, and also getting more meat and skins from the animals that you killed. Well, the other thing was, the final one in the whole tree was that you could plant in autumn, and your crops would still be there, would be available for you in winter. Otherwise, if you planted and winter showed up, it would kill your plants. So
Yeah, of course, yeah.
yeah, so when you got that one buff, then you were really set. Now, what the interesting thing was that the default and what the developers intended was for you to have 3-day seasons and 45-hour days. But some people
Real life.
right. so that you would have, you could work through the day. The seasons would change. But a couple of people that we were working with actually got 7-day seasons. And to that, it's an advantage for them, because they have more time to gather and stuff. But the seasons take longer, which means things like the crops growing and the trees coming back.
Yes, they grow slower, of course.
Right. And the replenishing of the mine was supposed to be, every couple of seasons. So you'd have to wait longer for your ore to come back. And so, but some people like that. And even though it wasn't the attention of the developers, it wasn't a hindrance. But one thing started glitching. The crops were harvestable over and over and over again. If you logged out, and if you look at the picture in the show notes, you'll see one of the pictures shows a field of wheat, and the wheat never went away. You would harvest it and then look, and it would still be there. And then when you logged out and you logged back in, you could reharvest the same field. Now, there is a page on the Discord where you were supposed to technically go and report bugs. And me and Avril thought about this, and we were like, okay, well, we're going to wait a couple of seasons and see what happens. If it never goes away, eventually we'll report the bug. But in the meantime, we were harvesting like crazy because we could take the wheat, turn it into flour, and sell it, and we were getting money. Now, is this cheating or taking it? Yeah. Well, the only thing is, we are not competing against anybody. If there was an economy in the game where we were competing against someone else, I would say it was cheating per se. But this was technically just taking advantage of a glitch. But someone else reported it, so it's going to be fixed. And in the meantime, we stocked up on a lot of wheat so that we could have a little extra security to buy things and decorate and build up our community. Now, the other thing that happened was there are certain quests in the co-op, in the solo player, that they didn't put in the co-op because it just wouldn't work. Like, for instance, in the solo, you can hire workers, and the resource building, you would have to put food and money in there to pay the workers, and that's how they also put the fruits of their labor in it. And it also was where you could get married, have a wife, and have a child, and the wife and the child would also feed off of the money and the food in the resource chest. So you'd have to make sure that that particular chest was always stocked with food and money to pay the workers. Well, there's no workers in co-op, and there's not supposed to be a wife in the co-op. But there was a quest in one of the cities saying, oh, Isabel is looking for a wife. And I took the quest as a lark, and I got a wife. But the problem is I can't feed her because I don't have that chest, and eventually she's going to get unhappy and go away. One of the things I did do is I put some flowers in the house, and so that made her a little bit happier. But I'm going to lose her. So anyway, so I'm having a lot of fun in Medieval Dynasty. If anybody wants to play, message me, let me know. It's really a fun game. The immersion is really good. I get really caught up right now with making the flour and making the pita bread. I set out welcome chests in the area where you spawn in when you join the game. So there's food in that chest. There's a bow and an axe and a water skin, so that you have all the things you need to start off. And then in my town itself, I have a welcome chest for food, for tools, and all the things you need to start going. And I'm really having a lot of fun with the decorating. So that's Medieval Dynasty. That's my main game. There's been a couple of other games I've played. And I put a screenshot in the show notes. There's a hunting simulator where you actually go out to hunt deer, and that was kind of interesting. Of course, my main other thing I do in VR is work out, and I put some screenshots in the show notes of me doing my weight training, my boxing, and it's really going very well. I'm feeling like I'm getting toned. I used 3 particular games, Fit XR, which used to be Box XR, and it was a one-time purchase, but then they went to a subscription plan, and because I bought it when it was a one-time purchase, I got it grandfathered in. Although I don't get access to some of the newer game, newer fitness workouts unless I would pay for the subscription. But I like it. I like the games that I have access to. I do a couple of workouts with that. They have a warm-up and a cool-down that I specifically use. Light Sport is the one I use for boxing and the weight training. That's $9 a month. And then I have the elliptical one that I use with the full-size elliptical that's linked to my headset. And that's been the things I've been doing this week, and it's been amazingly fun. I'm playing 6 to 8 hours a day, so that tells you how much fun Medieval Dynasty is. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was Pokemon, because I found out that some of the people I play in VR have been playing Pokemon. Now, do you go out and do any of the events, the community events?
We don't have events where I live. I'll just live in a too small of a town.
Okay. All right. So I did put my joining code if anybody wanted to join me. I put them in the show notes, and I also put. We were talking about how long I'd been playing. So my blue character, AprilPvd, she started on July 9th, 2016. My red character, Maja PVD, started 11/22/2017. And my yellow character, Sebastian PVD, started August 7th, 2017. That's a lot of Pokemon.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yes. So that's been my week in VR. I am really, really enjoying co-op. One of the things I do when I stream on AprilPvd VR is that I do sometimes put a code in the corner. So if you're playing Medieval Dynasty VR, look at the code and join me. It'll be fun. Now, have you heard of the flat screen Medieval Dynasty?
No.
Okay.
I have not.
Yeah, it's a little bit further advanced than the VR one, but I have a couple of friends that play. All right. So thank you for listening. This has been our week in gaming. Anything you want to add before we go, Grand Nagus?
No, I don't think I do.
I put links in the show notes if you want to watch our Twitch channel. You can write us at controlaltwow@gmail.com and check out our YouTube channel as well. That's where we'll be putting up the videos. YouTube/controlaltwow. This has been AprilPvd in VR.
This has been Grand Nagus. I'm going to start it again. Rule of acquisition number 19. Satisfaction is not guaranteed. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Till next time, agents.
See ya. Later. You headed out?
Come back again soon. Don't be a stranger, dear. Visit again soon.
The Dunes bury all.